Okay, good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folari. Talking 2027 is very much on our agenda, these days. I guess we've done something or other about it from the beginning of the week. Okay, so governance and the quest for the common good. This is something that the president constantly is harping on, how to do the best for the people, the common good of the people, wherever they may be, up and down the country, north, south, east, west, is his quest. So we'll look at this morning, governance and the quest for common good. And my guest is a friend of the house, fast become that. He's been here often enough, Chief Jerry Chukwueke. He's a former Chief Technical Advisor to the Imo State Governor, Hope Uzodimma, APC Governors Forum Chair. And he's an APC chieftain, that's among others. But he also is Ohamadike. He's a red cap chief. And often these red caps, they will have something, so which kind of a chief are you? And on his, it is Ohamadike, that hammer part of it. What is Ohamadike?
Well, there is no hammer to it.
I know.
What it's
about,
just
the way it sounds.
It's a recognition of the people's person.
Okay.
Somebody in a community that people acknowledge, that can stand for them, be with them.
And deliver.
Propagate their interests.
And deliver for them.
And deliver, absolutely. And in a reliable way. I think that's the point about the Ohamadike title.
If there's a grand one,
yes,
the president also can get Ohamadike.
Oh, without a doubt, because we're going to deliver him big time in Imo. And then that will come.
But it's very serious business to the president, this matter of governance, good governance in the country, delivering the greatest good to the most people, the greatest common good.
Right.
Often, from time to time, you've heard the president say that, look, guys, talking to the citizenry, challenge your governors, not saying rebel or do, but ask your governors, what have you done with the additional resources that we have got and been put into your care? That's just one way of looking at it. But the concept of governance for the common good is a wide-ranging topic, isn't it?
Absolutely. So we tee it up from the just recently concluded Catholic Bishops' Conference of Nigeria.
Okay.
Meeting in Abuja just a few days ago. And the focus of their communique was leadership and the whole concept of the common good.
They spoke about other things as well, but this is a key.
But that's the deal right there, because you can flesh it out in a lot of ways. And so they were talking about leadership at all strata, focusing their decisions, focusing applications on the common good, not beholding to just a few, but keeping the common good in mind, that it is indeed a moral and spiritual responsibility. And it's not just executive, it is the judiciary, it is the legislative arm, all working together to do the business our people put them there to do, focusing on the common good. Now, but that comes with a certain level of personal convictions and character. Because leaders in Nigeria, whether we're in the public sector or private sector, people have to really ask themselves, at what point do you say when? Why don't we focus more on our needs rather than wants? Because that's where it starts. Because when the need is the focus, it's limited. But when you want and want and want, and the wants go way beyond what you even need, you've denied the majority of people
now, that's
their opportunities.
You're very right. But also, it's a very delicate aspect of our national life, isn't it? Especially, I like as it sort of dovetailed into this matter of the needs versus the wants.
Correct.
Of course, we want so many things that we have been having for quite a while.
Correct.
And here we are in this dispensation where we're going to have to look at our needs as well.
That is because when you focus on wants, because wants can take you to the skies, way beyond what you need to function, way beyond what you can consume, way beyond what you can spend. But when you pursue wants, you deny a whole lot of people their own opportunities to meet their needs. That's where the moral and spiritual challenge lies.
As for example, a very simplistic example, even a primary school student could understand, is that we do want fuel, petrol, at 20 naira a litre.
Yes.
We do want it.
Yes.
However, it's not going to happen, and it's going to show when things are adjusted in a certain way. Because of what you're saying, we need to focus on the needs. This has to be totally, it needs to be totally reorganized.
Correct.
With explanations.
Correct.
Why?
But I think on a personal note, before we go to those policy issues, part of what drives corruption is this issue of want.
Of course.
You see, and when you accumulate, and you want to accumulate beyond what you need, beyond what your family needs, and you're now talking about, oh, my great-grandchildren and generations to come. Those
you're
things,
going into the morality of the
that's the
subject
point.
now.
That's what I'm talking about in the first instance, because it starts from the self. Can we find it in ourselves as Nigerians, particularly political leaders and people who lead Nigeria at the different strata, to say, look, let's focus more on the common good by that focus on what we need, so we have more for other people. I think that's the point here, because it helps the discipline of the mind and body. And we all need it. After all, what does it benefit a man to go beyond what you need? You have properties all over the world, you don't even get there.
Yeah, but how easy, how convenient is it for the political class to deliver on this very, very important aspect?
But you see, that's why we're having this conversation, isn't it? So even if just a few, let's keep making progress. Let people think about it some more. And say, and
even if they are misunderstood?
Yeah, and
even
I say,
when they are misunderstood?
Even to my own children, I say to them, what I owe you, what your mom and I owe you, is the best education. You now have to get on out there and make it happen. And we can do catch and dives, but you have to drive it. But the idea that I'm going to focus on my wants so I can build up for you and your generations to come, and you become mentally lazy, I'm not in that business. That's all part of it. Can we start to limit ourselves so others can find their own feet?
You know, it'll be
That's really where we start this conversation, isn't it?
Yes, and it will be much easier to do, I imagine, if the citizenry is aware and keys into this vision.
Correct.
You know, because if they are not aware of where all of this is coming from, and that ultimately it's going to end up in, you know, the common good for the most of us, then there might be this tendency to concentrate on the pinches, the aches, the sufferings, as opposed to, no. It's the same way with savings, isn't it? Even with savings in the bank.
Correct.
It's inconvenient to go and put the money, but it is yours, and you know you can call on it.
Exactly. And so, when you now look at where we're going, 2027, it's also a challenge for the electorate. Please make a better effort to work with, identify leaders who at least have a sense of focus on the common good. You know, it takes courage and sufficient boldness. And I know there is no perfect way to do it. But if you have a leader who has the opportunity at whatever level to deploy 100 million naira, of public funds, and that man or woman is saying, you know what, it's not a perfect system, so 15% of it may be enabling environment, sort out, but 85% of it must go
to the job.
That's a great start.
It is.
I'm not talking about perfection.
Not that one knows very much about these things that haven't been in the corridors of power, but there are commentators who probably know a lot better who say that that ratio has actually been inverted, where it is only 15% that goes to the cause and 85% disappears into...
that's a moral problem in my view.
It is.
And this is what I think the Bishops' Conference was addressing. That's my read of where they were going with it. Can we think about the morality of what we're doing and how we live our lives, particularly how that affects leadership, and how can we start to apply that going forward in governance, and how even Nigerians must also focus on their own needs, because this corruption is not just about leadership, it's about how Nigerians are playing. I'll give you an example. Just a few days ago, I was returning from Abuja, and I got in an Uber, got to the airport, and I didn't check that my app had paid the Uber driver, right? I didn't check. I had too many things going on in my head. And he dropped me off at the airport, and I said to him, hey, how much do I owe you? And he gave me a number. I paid him and tipped him. And then I looked at my phone, and the man drove away, and he had checked. He knew that the app had paid. And all he needed to say, oh, sir,
you're good.
I would have been happy to give him the 25,000 and just say, listen, help your family. If you only had said that to me. But so I'm sorry.
He pulled the first one instead.
So you see, this is the point. So it's not just about leadership. It's all of us focusing on it to say, we have the responsibility to be our brother's keepers. That's the point here. When you're a brother's keeper, you believe in the common good. And so, when you now talk about 2027, we all have a role to play. And I come back to some of the key things happening today in terms of governance. Look, you may not agree with some things Mr. President is doing, but let's at least objectively give him and his administration credit for the things they're doing right. Just a few days ago, by an executive order, he is moving funds, receipts of hydrocarbon sales away from the NNPC to Federation account. You know, it's a big, big deal, because it means that NNPC, like everybody else, will have to make a proposal for what they need, and they get funded rather than being recipient and spending the money they receive without the proper due process. And this will translate to more funds going to the subnationals.
And it's also...
that's a big deal.
It is. And also we spoke about corruption earlier. There's much less scope for that.
That's the point. That's what I mean by due process.
Yes. There's much now.
So there's transparency, a lot more transparency in it.
And there are a lot of, quite a number of reforms that are so geared. That is
absolutely.
That's what's going on.
So if you take the impact of this new move and add it to the fuel subsidy removal and the funds that are flowing to the subnationals, the net effect is a lot more funds going to states and local governments, so we can better address the needs of our people. That is important in the common good drive. This common good is so vast in how we can apply it. That's a key principle. Look at the other issue. How do you focus on common good if you're not addressing insecurity? So he says, okay, we've had enough of debate. We're doing our best, but we now need state police. Let the states do more alongside community policing so we can protect the lives and properties of our people.
We've been romancing this particular notion for quite a while.
Yes.
Now he is saying that it will be delivered.
Yes.
It shall be delivered.
That is common good.
Yes, and that is a commitment to it.
Yes, indeed. That's common good. When he's pushing for local government funds to go to local governments. So our people in the rural areas can feel more of the impact of the deliverables of this reform agenda. That's the common good. I can keep going.
Yes, to what extent,
Yes.
though, are the governors, all the excellent people who are governors,
Yes.
keen into the idea?
Well, let me tell you.
And running with it.
Yes, so many are. I don't want to say most, so because you don't challenge me to empirical evidence, but many are. But he is staying on top of it with them because the implications are heavy. Infrastructural development, education and health care, okay, supporting small farmers, processing, the whole idea of improving security in the local areas and allowing our people, the ordinary people, to do the things they do. Supplies, vendor, contracting, small things. Earn money, stay busy. A busy mind is less concerned about criminality and insecurity. They go hand in hand.
They do. And this reminds me of the insecurity problem that we have and are grappling with even as we speak. The president has said it stands to reason. Without security, you can't do anything.
Correct.
You know, what can you do?
Correct.
Yet, is it an intractable problem, do you think? Because look at all sorts of efforts. The Americans came in with the knowledge of the federal government and all of that. But there are those who are saying, did it backfire? Did it backfire a bit?
No, I don't believe so. I think we just got started with it. Okay. And I think we're going to see the effects, and it will only get better. That is my view. Now, our insecurity is multidimensional, as you know. Mm-hmm. One is extremism and those who are this jihad movement. That's one aspect.
Terrorism.
And terrorism. Then you now have another, dimension of it that is outright criminality.
Yes. And this terrorism is coming from people, these terrorists, reading our situation and knowing that government is, dare I use the word, limited in quite a number of ways.
Exactly.
And are exploiting these.
Part
of which links back to state police and reforms in the police, even as we are speaking.
And many coming from outside our borders, taking advantage of the porous borders. In the southeast, in all fairness, security continues to improve. We had a great Christmas and a peaceful New Year in the southeast.
You remind me of this Christmas.
And everybody did.
When the price of foods.
Indeed.
When it crashed.
Yes.
But as you know, there were people who complained about that.
Yes, so they said,
paradoxically
the government imported a lot of food to crash prices rather than supporting local farmers. You see, but the issue is the balance. Because our people have to eat as you improve on security, so more and more farmers can return to the farms, isn't it? And that gives you a chance for mechanized agriculture investment and all the incentives to continue to grow food locally. Certainly, we want to empower local farmers, but it must not be at the expense of outright hunger. So I think it was a balancing act. It was a temporary move to improve, allow security to improve so that farmers can return to the farms.
Giving them a bit of a
Now
margin.
look at the other thing. Mr. President's now directive, just a few days ago, that local contractors should be paid. That's common good. How do you owe local contractors so much money? They are citizens.
You need them and
they
borrowed
money from banks. They borrowed from relations. They owe money everywhere. They too have to survive. That's common good. I mean, if you further look at what is going on, when you make the move he made at the central bank to ensure uniformity in exchange rate access,
that
was in the interest of the common good.
In the interest of the common good, as opposed to the regime that used to be, where
for
some people were the sole beneficiaries.
It was so ridiculous what was going on. And these were bold moves. Because I ask you, would anybody question the fact that President Bola Tinubu didn't come to power so he can acquire more money and material wealth? He had it. He had.
Well, you would know.
I know.
Because
he was a private sector man. He had it.
We were just ordinary people.
He had it.
We listen to what they tell us. The point you're making is
his motivation.
That is not in his
that's
interest
the point.
At all.
His motivation was not
acquisition
of wealth.
This, I think most people would agree.
That's the point.
For what he can get out of it.
For himself.
For himself.
That's the point
fact,
I'm making.
Those people say that his whole purpose at this stage and age of his life.
His legacy.
It is.
So let us be honest about it. And guess what? When we talk about the role of opposition and how they can help in a better democracy and how our people fare better by being constructive in their criticism.
It's a sore point you are touching.
That's the point,
it's a
isn't
sore point.
it?
I'm going to return to it, but let me take this caller. We're not shying away from that because it's very, very
Please
important.
Go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. George. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning, Uncle Yori. And good morning to Chief Jerry.
Chief Chukwueke.
Thank you
Jerry
so much
Chukwueke.
for bringing up this topic this morning. The ability, what is good for all, is the very essence and fabric of leadership.
I don't know.
He who does not have that ability to decipher what is good for all and how to go about it has no place in the corridor of leadership. It's like we are not hearing.
Oh, please continue.
Hello?
They will fix me, but you're right. You guessed right. Please continue. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay. I was thanking you for bringing up this topic.
Oh, okay. I can hear you now.
This topic is very large. It's very large.
I agree.
I don't know how much of it we can discuss in just one session.
Yes, you're very, very right. Please continue.
Can you still hear me?
Yes, I can hear you well.
All right. He who hasn't got the what is good for all has no place in the corridor of leadership, because that is the very fabric and essence of anybody that can call himself a leader. Not what is good for some, or what is good for all. So, of a person at the top of leadership has always been the problem because of our format of leadership recruitment. But I am particularly happy that for once we have one at the top echelon of leadership in Nigeria now. That is why you are seeing serious changes, and then you see those who are used to the old order resisting it to the letter. The president has done a lot of innovations, has brought a lot of innovations and policy reformations to the country. He should just continue in that mode. He's on the right track. To suggest something, Goyori.
Sure.
Money that is recovered from looters, like the 750 duplexes recovered from the former governor of Central Bank.
Yes.
They should sell those houses and put the money in the students' loans fund, so that anybody that has admission to a federal university should get that money. In fact, when you combine what can be realized from 3 people and you put into that account, anybody in federal university in Nigeria will have that money without exception, and it will even be. That should also happen to so many other sectors. The money is there. It is this ability to block the loophole from being looted that has been our problem.
Indeed.
I also commend him for what he has done at the NNPC. A situation where the main income for the country comes and says this month there's zero remittance. Where is the money going?
Yeah.
When people are suffering and they need to have money for governance. So
Things are
I
certainly
commend what
changing.
is going on. Also improving our leadership recruitment patterns so that only those who know how to decipher what is good for the whole can get to leadership. I don't expect us to get it immediately, but in the course of time.
Thank you very much. Thank
But
you very
I'm
much.
happy with how far we are going now.
All right then.
Thank you for bringing the topic again.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Well done. Just in line with what we're talking about.
Indeed.
You know, I read a report just a few days ago that our net foreign reserves is now some 34 billion.
And this is coming from
$billion.
billion dollars.
Yes, when Mr. President took
reserve.
over, our net reserves, foreign reserves, was 3 billion.
So between then and now,
It
from 3
is-
to 34.
So, and you know what the net reserve, so if you take what's in the reserve account and you net out the obligations in terms of foreign commitments, that's the net. Look at the dramatic increase. And it's because there's been a concerted effort to close the gap on oil theft, encourage local production, and we're now some 1.45 million barrels of crude a day, and we're able to pay our debt, force sales, meet our obligations, allow an opportunity where there is dollar availability for our people to do business without the accumulated backlog for years that stifled business. That's the common good
I suppose
we're talking about.
the opposition isn't obliged to point all these things out.
Yes.
They're not. Unfortunately, if they could, if they wanted to, say that it's not as if we're saying that everything is hunky-dory because
not,
this has happened, this has happened. No, they'll say that, well, we're not obliged to. But Reverend Dominic, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning to Chief Jerry Chukwueke.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning. He was just saying good morning.
Good morning. Good morning to you.
Yes, please.
Yori, let me blow my trumpet because nobody may blow for us. Yori, when I listen to Chief Jerry, because it comes from my state, in Southeast, let me not look for trouble. In the Southeast, Imo State are the most educated people. We change education more than Naira and Kobo. But that's by the way. Yori, I want to greet Chukwueke and his governor. I call his governor, which is my governor, the governor of Imo State.
Okay. Hope Uzodinma.
You will bow to kind of the global in a way. You will think you are in the center of Dubai, Owerri town. But, Chief, that being said, Yori, from that place, Owerri to my place, where I come from, Abombise, I lost my tire from Abombise to Ezike town this December. That road is impassable. I want to plead to Chief Jerry Chukwueke. He has the ear of the governor to help us put that road in order. He has done well in Owerri town. He has done very well to make a capital that you can be proud of. But what is capital if our cannot even affect our homes? From Abombise, you know what I mean? From Abombise local government to every local government, there was no good road. That road was built by Atiku Denwa. It has broken down. You can't pass in it through now. So the governor, please, and there's enough money to do that. You already asked the president. God bless our president. The way he's harnessing money for common good of Nigeria. From tax now, we have excess in what they call it again, in VAT. And again, you have taken the man who is the one that's tax intelligent man.
Yes.
Now
to the finance
the
ministry
minister of state, so he can supervise the money. What a good Chinese say this, sir. Good products, good thinking. God will sustain Mr. President. He will live to go for second term. But let me say this.
Sure.
And he's suffering it. If the government did not do well, this effort will be useless. This effort will be useless. If the government did not do well, nobody will feel the impact of the federal government power. If Chief Chukwueke, tell your governor that I have no road to get access to my house. He has done well. If you
Okay. Okay, Reverend. Indeed.
No fly was hid. No ant was killed. No monkey was killed. Put those. But we must get to the villagers, the interlands.
All right then. Okay, thank you very much. He had to slip that in, and it's allowed.
Yes, it did.
We're talking about
common good.
The common good.
Yes, indeed. And infrastructure is a big part of it.
And
So
I also like the fact that he underlined the fact that without the governors collaborating, cooperating, because they have been better enabled to do so,
correct.
then we're shortchanging ourselves.
Now, I think we need to kind of understand a bit more, and this is my view of the strategic play our Governor Nemo is deployed. He focused first on those federal roads that were hampering economic development, that had just stuck out there for a long time. The Abombise he's talking about, I am aware of what he's talking about, except to say that the Weromaya Road, that is an expressway now, with strong infrastructure, including street lights and drainage, cuts right through the Mbise local government. Just like it's done the Owerri Olo and the Owerri Okiwe. Ordinarily, federal roads, he's not been refunded money yet. I know he's working on them. Now he's focusing on the rural roads. That's what he's talking about. And when we keep saying that some of these recent moves of Mr. President, for example, in bringing more money to the federal coffers and moving it out of NNPC, will further empower the governors to do more local infrastructure. I say just be a bit more patient and see what the rural road strategy that is deploying. In our area, whether it's Olo or even many parts of Owerri, those rural roads are happening. Mbise is part of Owerri zone, but it's all coming. And I know the governor has had some issues with some local contractors who were paid money for these rural roads in their rural environment, and they didn't get them done. And he's chasing after them. So I think you just be a bit more patient, because I know our governor means to really be an infrastructure governor in terms of transformation. And it will get to all of us. I think so.
So the system is working, not at its optimum
We're
level.
not saying we're there yet.
No.
Absolutely not.
Not.
Because, and I say this, particularly for our northern brothers, and I say this just from a viewpoint of the economy. If you check the political balance, there are more states and more local governments in northern Nigeria. And that means that revenue flow to the subnational levels has that implication that our northern brothers, in terms of local government and states, are getting pumped with revenue.
Yes.
Much more money than before.
So they have a much better shot at it.
That's my
than
point.
Previously.
That's my point.
I got to take a break. We'll
That's
come
my
back.
point.
Chief Jerry Chukwueke, he's a former chief technical advisor to the Imo State governor, who coincidentally is also the Imo State governor. He's also the APC chairman of the APC Governors Forum. Jerry is also a public affairs analyst, and that's quite apart from being an APC chieftain. Just in case people are wondering.
Indeed, yes.
You're not shy about these
Absolutely
things. You're not shy
not.
about them at all.
And I believe in the reform agenda. And all I say to our people is be patient. Because you see, the importance of this second term, it's going to be even more dramatic. Now, because the distraction of the running a re-election will be out the way.
You know, it's like you stole our thunder a bit on that, because I was going to bring the point to you.
Yes.
Look, you started off at the very beginning about, trying to delineate between wants and needs, and how the task of our leaders is to know that whereas it's very seductive to go with wants, a leader thinking about the future has to also be looking at the needs, which can come with pains.
Right.
So I was thinking that if it's been this good thus far, the scope is a lot better when it comes to the second term, because of what you were just saying.
Yes.
The leadership, in this case, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu,
yes,
will not be, he's a politician first and foremost, yes, anyway.
Yes.
So he has to keep an eye,
yes,
on how the citizenry is feeling.
Yes.
Some things that he knows,
yes,
have to be done.
Yes.
Again, putting on his political cap, we know that take it easy,
Yes.
take it easy, then we might be misunderstood. But come the second term.
So, my view is that electoral reforms and the opportunity for people to vote and their votes be counted and their votes count is part of that common good focus. So,
And so there have been
if you
tinkerings with the Electoral Act.
this is the point, right? There are some people who are not happy or very happy that it didn't go to its logical conclusion, meaning by law, all votes from the polling units must be directly transmitted to the IREV.
Real time.
Real time.
That was the
just
whole
remember the real time issue is the only gap some people are complaining about. And yet we know that in this country sometimes some people, politicians, for their selfish interests, sabotage networks to ensure that that doesn't happen.
And they have the financial wherewithal
So
to do it.
It gives INEC the opportunity to say, we won't allow a people to be denied their vote if the network, for one reason or another, is not there at the time. Let's do our best to ensure that as much as the votes count. Now, so it puts a moral burden on INEC as well. But let me tell you something. I'm reliably told, and my source is not a marginal source, that Mr. President never met Professor Josh Amuputon before he gave him the appointment. He never met him. He looked at his CV and the people who referenced him and made the call.
And then made his own research. And
made
all of
the call.
Made the call.
He never met him. He didn't call him for a meeting. He didn't even know him much. It was based on merit. Now, Professor Joash understands that. That man, the way I read him, he will make every effort to have those votes transmitted every which way possible from the polling units to the IREF.
Indeed.
He is committed to that.
And
he's just looking for that big cushion.
And should it not be possible, for whatever reason, everybody hopes, then the originating document
is the point. And so
is in existence.
That's the point.
That is what would have been
so people's votes are not denied.
So
because it can't be an absolute perfect system because of things that may develop. But I believe INEC has a moral responsibility, and they will do it. So let's take a deep breath and calm down, and let's get on with preparing for the elections. And by the way, I think it's also important to commend some moves we now see at the National Assembly, where oversight work is now trending up, and they're taking it more seriously. For example, again, INEC presented a budget, and the Senate said, sorry, we have some issues, go back and rework it. They're reworking it now. Ministry of Works, same thing.
We'll
so
come back
so
to that,
those are all issues of the common good. Because the more we can step up at all levels, and including the citizenry, the common good becomes more and more the focus.
Okay, we're talking about 2027 governance and the quest for the common good. Good morning, Mr. Joshua in Irewolede. Thank you very much for holding on.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
And thank you for putting me on. And Red Cap Chief.
Well, thank you very much. Good morning.
Jerry Chukwueke.
Yes, I greet him very much. He has spoken very well. If governance follows the trend of his talk, there will be a revolution in any instance that happens in Nigeria. You see, when the common good is about the need of the people, wonders happen. And that is why every time you start wondering, why are we really poor? What's happening to us in Nigeria? How good governance is, as long as we are feeding our greed. nothing will change. And unfortunately for me, the dimension why this talk will not fly is because it's almost a part of our culture to focus on our rather than our needs. Why politicians will steal the much of the houses. You can't even live in one house. If you live in one house, you sleep on one bed, you can't cover the entire bed. So I think our problem, this greed has become a national culture. Today, we look at that man and use him as a point of contact to salvage themselves from their greed, which is the reason why we have national greed.
Oh dear. Well, you know, I think he was commending the notion of need versus wants.
Absolutely.
And, the way to go is this. In fact, there was an article that I read. There's this intellectual, this Professor Killer, I believe. Yeah.
Yes, Professor Killer.
Yes, and he was talking about eating, not eating the chicken, but eating the eggs.
Right.
You know.
Right.
I don't know if you caught that particular article.
Yes. Because when you eat the chicken,
yes,
you've consumed the damn protein, all of it. But if you eat the egg, the chicken is still out there producing eggs, isn't it? It's all part of this issue of how we understand the discipline and the moral and spiritual obligation we have to one another, and how it is important that the decisions we make, the policies, starting from the strength of character and personal convictions, how we must remain a brother's keeper. This is something Nigerians need to hear more and more of, particularly our political leaders, particularly our business leaders. Let us build a country that is more inclusive, that the majority of people feel more and more of the impact of good governance.
All that is assuming
because
that the
it's
people
related
about,
to the issue of security or the lack of it and criminality. This common good is an important panacea in dealing with many of our societal problems.
I wanted to go somewhere, but I don't have the time because I'm conserving our time so that we use up every last second of it.
Please
but Gabriel in Abuja, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Uncle Yuri.
Thank you for calling in. Go ahead, please.
Hello.
Go ahead, please. We can hear you, Gabriel. Go ahead. I can hear you. Can you hear us? Gabriel in Abuja. Oh, dear. And it was working. Gabriel, see if you can call back in. I just have been told that we lost that particular connection. And meanwhile, you know, you see, what you're talking about, Jerry, it's assuming that we have selected from the political class people who are so spirited, so minded to come in and do the public good. Because, you know, dare I say it, there are perhaps quite a few left among the politicians whose main purpose of coming into politics is just something to eat, and that's where they
way beyond something to eat, to acquire wealth.
Thank you.
That's why
way beyond
they
something
deny the majority of the people their own opportunity to find their feet. That's the argument. That's the moral and spiritual argument I make here, to say we ought to think about this a bit more. What are we profiting by it as Nigerians? Look,
well, since
if you live in a community where you are the only one that can afford diesel and run generators, and you have 24/7 power, and everybody around you is in darkness, you're not safe.
Indeed, indeed.
So the common good is a better way to look at it, isn't it?
If the citizenry were aware of this thing you are saying, they are the people that can put politicians in office.
And this is what this conversation about 2027 is about. can we just, in fact, I go back to what the bishops were talking about in Abuja, the citizenry responsibility of registering to vote. If you don't care about that right and that responsibility, how can you now complain that the common good is not being served? You have a voice. Register to vote.
So you have to be invested. The
Indeed.
ordinary person has to
We've
be
done
invested.
it. Look
in
what's
this.
happened now, even in the e-registration of our party, APC. In Imo, many of us went out to our wards to engage directly with our people across party lines to say, it is an important responsibility. Come on out, register to vote, and support our party because the dividends are coming. It's not all there yet. But I want you to imagine what's going to happen in the second term of Mr. President without the distraction of worrying about his re-election. It will be more fast-tracked, more focused, and this is why I think that opposition to rebuild themselves.
They have the work cut out for them.
And now be in a position to actually add value by constructively criticizing government so the policies are better and better fine-tuned as opposed to self-correction.
You know, this enables me to return to Professor Killer's article.
Yes.
I think his apprehension was about this new wave of everybody making a beeline for the party, for the ruling party.
Yes.
He felt it had its downsides.
Yes.
And if we're not careful. But what does one do when everybody can see the lie of the ground
Yes.
and wants to join up with people who seem to know what they're doing?
Yes.
And in the opposition, they haven't exactly shown an alternative.
Yes, so
system
this
yet.
is the point.
But
And
Killer's article, as you know,
revolves around that.
it
And
revolves
that's the
around
point.
that and how it's not necessarily healthy.
At all. And I agree with that fully. But here's where we are. The challenge we face, and I've made this point consistently, is that our opposition parties are more interested in platforms to contest elections rather than vision.
Okay.
They are not telling us what they will do, even as individual politicians who are seeking presidency or whatever positions they seek. They're not engaging Nigerians on what they will do differently and how that will be better as an impact, how that will better serve the needs of our people. Let's hear the argument.
You're giving them a tip in what you're saying.
Indeed, because
this is the tip.
I'm for
Use
common
this tip.
good. I have no problem. And I don't believe Mr. President has a problem with constructive opposition. Our democracy needs it. And so I think that this is a rebuilding time. I'm not sure 2027 is still a big issue. I think the train has left the station. And I've made that point before.
The opposition will beg to differ.
Well,
you know, the opposition will
reality
beg
on the
to differ.
ground. I'm just talking reality on the ground, but not taking anything for granted.
Yes.
But the point I'm making is this. If I were in the opposition party, I'll be more focused on rebuilding, recruitment, vision, manifesto, tell our story, what we'll do differently, how we're going to do it, recruit more people, private sector, public sector people, independent-minded people, and say, listen, we need 4 years to rebuild and be able to contest effectively.
Because
if you're talking about the different people we see jumping up and down to contest presidency without telling us what they would do differently or even critique what is going on now effectively, I don't know what that is. To remove the president for the sake of removing it is not in the interest of the common good.
Yeah, in fact,
that's my point. Let's all focus on the common good.
Because that seems to have been the main thrust of their position, which is that to remove, you know.
Yes. They want to remove.
At polls.
Yes.
That seems to remove at the polls.
How does that serve the common good?
What?
Which is the point we're discussing today.
Exactly.
What would you do differently? How is that better than what we have now? Could anybody really realistically fault Mr. President's decision to move the funds that is key to Nigeria's economic survival and progress away from NNPC to Federation account to promote transparency and accountability and have more funds for all the other tiers of government to further impact the lives of our common people.
And yeah,
that's the common good.
That's one.
Tell us what you do differently.
Part of this common good is what he launched way back at the commencement of his administration, talking about the education, the scholarship scheme.
Exactly.
You know, that again, it's all about education. You educate a man. You know, you just created, you know, something that's just going to be flourishing.
That's the key. That is the key. Yes.
So, and and then there's the whole matter about the security initiative. Mr. President stating categorically that we are working on it.
Look at the institutions that are being strengthened.
Yes.
The EFCC, the ICPC. They're not perfect, but they're clearly doing a good job. Remember what used to be the story? Oh, if you wanted to escape the EFCC, join the EPC. Is that now the case? Is it really what the case is? Absolutely not. It is no shelter for anybody. If the case is clear and they run through the investigation, from what we've seen so far, they have acted. So the more we strengthen our institutions to ensure the checks and balances necessary, that's good for the common good.
And take it to a place that you can't really reverse from anymore.
That is the point.
That's the whole purpose.
That is the point.
You can't reverse.
And that's why I think this next 4 years, Mr. President's re-election, in my view,
it's about consolidating.
Yes, is in our national interest. I believe so. And because the common good will be even a greater focus. Yes.
Furthering the common good.
Yes, indeed.
That the President has been saying, not just from when he came. Remember, you recall that his birthday event used to be a colloquium.
Yes.
Remember?
Yes.
And, you know,
yes.
every year or so, apart from when there was some unfortunate bad news that he cancelled one, I can't remember.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
You know, it's all about the common good of the people. But we got to leave this conversation here. As Mr. George, who called in from Lagos, said that this is such a wide-ranging topic. We could just really go on and on.
But it's a good start. Let's keep talking about the common good.
It's important.
Yes, and let it sink in as much as possible.
Thank you.
As we move into 2027.
Thank you very much for coming on, Jerry.
Thank you. I had fun. Thank you very much.
Chief Jerry Chukwueke. And I just like the sound of that, his title.
No hammer. No hammer to it, but a lot of good work for our people.